Hi, and welcome back to Pittman's Pumpkin Patch, Pittman's Garden Patch. It is May the 17th, 2017, and just wanted to kind of give you guys a garden update. Some things that I'm noticing that's happening that's I think is pretty cool and amazing. Um, I'm here at my orange trees here as well. This is my Satsuma Mandarin orange tree. This is the one I've showed you of the past couple videos that's had some oranges on it that are growing. And I'm only down to 3. The others have dropped off. As you can see down here, it dropped. And this is typical. Some of the oranges were starting to yellow and then they would drop off. So that's typical of the orange tree. So I'm not worried about that. Wished it would have kept more, but the tree knows what it can hold and what it can't. I still have oranges growing on here. In fact, I see one all the way back here where my finger sticks. I just now noticed him. There's one right back there where I'm touching. Huh, I never noticed that one. And here's my biggest one right here. So that's one back there, 2, 3, and then there's one over here somewhere. I just lost them. Anyways, so I have about 4. Oh, here he is, right here where I'm touching my finger. So there's 4 there. But also, I thought it was done blooming for the year, but look, right here, there's another flower set to bloom here soon. And also, I think there's a couple more somewhere. I lost where they were, but I just want to show you, hey, this thing is starting to put on a second bloom, at least a little one. I didn't know that would happen or could happen. So I'm excited about that. So that's something new that I just learned. And this right here is my blood orange tree, the one that had dropped all of its leaves when I transplanted it back in, I guess it was December, January, something like that. And this thing was almost bare bones. And they told me it would come back, and sure enough, it did. So, but the other amazing thing about this is I was just going to go, okay, it's just going to put on a bunch of leaf growth and everything, and get back what it lost. And maybe in January or so of 2018, maybe it'll bloom, maybe. And lo and behold, a couple days ago, I noticed in here, see if you can see that on the camera, straight down in here, there are 2 flower heads dead center screen. And there is this beauty, let me get my shot out of the way, right there. So this one is set to bloom, and a little bit anyways, and I'm just like amazed that this thing is recovering and potentially have an orange or 2. We'll see. I mean, but the fact that it's putting on a bloom after what had happened, after it dropped off its leaves and everything, is quite amazing to me. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. My goji berry plant, the doggone birds have pretty much picked it clean, I think, or something has. But still, here is one goji berry hanging here. Let's see if he's ready to. Yeah, I'm kind of ready. A little breakfast. That one's okay. That one's not bad. It's going to put on more blooms, and here soon, I think. And it'll bloom. It'll keep on producing throughout till the first frost comes and hits, and then that'll keep it from doing any more. You can see my strawberries plants have gone crazy. Strawberries everywhere, all tucked inside and everything, to the point that there's so many that you can't even find them and see them, and then they just kind of rot inside here. But they're loaded everywhere, so it's nice to come out here and just have my breakfast out here straight from the garden. And these strawberries, the taste is okay. It's not that bad. I've had better, but I've had worse. So this is kind of in the middle. I think this is a jewel variety, and they've produced pretty good. That's no doubt about that. But the taste of the strawberries, it's mildly sweet. Now, the best tasting strawberries I've ever had is the Chandler varieties. I tried Sweet Charlie, and I've had Chandler, and I've had Camarosa, and now Jewel. Chandler, by far, to me, has been the biggest strawberries of the June-bearing variety, and the sweetest. And, I kind of have some news here that I want to share with you guys as I meander through the strawberry patch and over here to more goji berry. That's not really doing anything for me. But today I have a couple doctor's appointments I have to go to, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Tomato plant. Don't know if how well it's gonna produce. That's kind of been neglected. But anywho, in between my doctor visits today, I am going to go over to the City Hall area and get my business license. And for my business that I'm trying to start up here, which is growing local organic food for restaurants and grocery stores and probably some farmers markets and things like that. And so I'm pretty excited about that, and that's going to allow me to hopefully have a good successful business, make some extra money to augment my regular job, and who knows what might happen if the business takes off. But yeah, it's going to be a pretty interesting day, and pretty excited about that. I got a sunflower growing in my strawberry patch right here, and he volunteered. And this is where I had sunflowers before, right in a small area right here, and so this one's self-seeded. I had another one in another part of the garden, but I pulled it and I didn't realize what it was until I saw the second one, and I was like, oh, that's what that is. So yeah, that'll. And let's see, so here we are over my grape plants here. This one I think is just going to be putting on leaves this year and everything. Look how tall that thing has gotten up there. Whew. I think I might need to cap them. And go over here. Here's my Concord grape plant. And there's a flower cluster right there. And the one thing I haven't figured out yet is whether these things have already bloomed and are on their way to having grapes, like I think that right there is, or not, or they haven't opened yet, because, and I think they already have. It's just that I am learning about the grape plants and I don't know enough about them to recognize whether it's already opened or not, because I check out here on a fairly regular basis, and I didn't really see any big wide open flowers blooming and all that kind of stuff like that. Maybe that's what grapes are. They're just tiny little things, and they don't do a whole lot of blooming. They're not like big flowers that just are very showy, maybe. You can see more grape clusters into there. And so we'll see. We'll see what's going on, what'll happen. So here is my Mizuna. It's an Asian green, and it's one of my. It's going to be a auxiliary green for my salad mix. You can see my onions here, the seed heads and everything. And I don't think I'm going to keep any of these seeds. These onions have not really produced very well for me this year, and so therefore I'm not inclined to keep seeds from plants that didn't do too well for me. And maybe it's my fault for mulching, I don't know. But these things have not bulbed up, and they have not gotten solid and hard and everything. I mean, you could see this onion bulb right down here. It's not really doing much of anything, and this is supposed to be this giant Kelsey onions, and they're just soft as they can be, and just not doing very well for me this year. I had a smaller bed of onions that I pulled the other day because they were just taking up space, and again, they weren't really doing anything. You can just see this stuff is just puny. Nothing ever really bulbed out. You know, this might be the biggest bulb I got out of all of that. It looks more like leeks. So, nothing really happening there. So I pulled them out, and I made room for some of my green bean plants. As you can see along the edge here. And I'm going to keep an eye on these things because I used something called Inoculate this year. This is the first time I've ever done it. And you have to be very specific. Inoculate, pea and bean inoculate. And what that does is you mix it in. It's a little black kind of powdery thing. It's more like, I'm not saying they're enzymes, but they're some kind of bacteria or something like that. I can't think of the rhizomes. That's what I'm thinking of. That's the word. It's a rhizome, and you sprinkle it in and make it and get it in contact with the root system of your plant. And what that does is it attaches to the roots, and it forms these nodules on there, or it becomes attached to the nodules on the root system, and it allows the green bean plant, or aids it in putting on, taking nitrogen out of the air and using it for its own benefit, and it helps to fix that nitrogen on its roots. And so the bean plants will grow better, and then they will fix the nitrogen back into the soil to keep the soil healthier too. So it's kind of a win-win situation. That's the first time I've tried that. Because my green beans have kind of been yellowing out over the past year or two that I've tried green beans. So let's see what kind of a crop I get this year with these plants. So here, you can see right here, this is one of my salad greens. This is part of the Salanova. And the other day, I cut the head back some of my lettuce and everything, because I made a salad mix for my mother-in-law. And it was the first one. I bagged it up, sealed it and everything with some equipment I have in the house and everything, put one of my business labels on it. And yeah, so I gave that to her as my first one. But I wanted to show you, just within, I guess, 3 days, I came in about 1.5 inches off the ground, inch to 1.5 inches off the ground with a big chef knife, cut across it, and now you can see the new growth is already coming back on this stuff. So same in here on the purple variety. So that's so eventually I'll be getting a second cut on that, and depending on, probably get a third, fourth, maybe even a fifth, who knows. I came in on the Mizuna, and I did some cutting across some of there too, not knowing exactly where to cut on here. You can see some growth still there, and I don't know what's going to happen with this one. So this is a learning experience for me, for my business and everything. And field of Mizuna. Spinach hasn't done all that great for me, but I'm learning. And back here is my pride and joy of my Salanova lettuce. You can see some of that stuff back there in the back row. It looks so big, it's like a shrub. Yeah, look at all that. Crazy good, huh? So this is going to be the base of my, the main ingredient of my Salanova mix. So I'm liking that. That's going to be real good. And that's good tasting salad too. Apple trees, you know, they've been putting on some apples and everything, and so I got a little bit going. But the problem is, and it's my fault, I didn't spray any of my apples with spinosad to keep, I believe, the coddling moth off, because each one of my apples has at least one, but I think most have two holes that have already been dug into these little tiny baby apples. So yeah, I'm probably not going to have any very good apples this year because of that. You can see some of the apples in here, and you can see those holes on that one to the left. You can see two holes in there and everything. So this is my Jonathan apple tree, and I don't think I have any apples left on my Honeycrisp. I had one, and it had already had holes in it, and I came looking for it the other day and it wasn't there, so I don't know, maybe it fell off or something got it. So next year I'll be better prepared to spray and have a good spraying program. Let's see, so tomato plant here starting to come alive, looks to be. Kind of been neglectful of my tomato plants, letting them dry out too much, and they were wilting several times, and I bring them back to life. So all that kind of stress is probably not very good for them. And these are probably more in the shade than I normally would put them. So, but I didn't feel like putting any more pots out in the yard and making any more holes, and you know. So this seemed to be the place to already put them. They'll get a decent amount of sun, but they'll also be in the shade by the protection of the apple trees. And during the heat of the summer, that might be beneficial to them, but at the same time, it's going to probably hinder some of the ripening process. So I may have to move these at some point in time. I don't know. Definitely an option as I move through my jungle. Coming through the blueberry patch. Got tons of blueberries growing, and they're ripening up. This is probably one of the trees that doesn't have the most on them, but it's got a good amount of blueberries, and it's going to be getting time here soon to cover these, pull the net down over it to protect them from the birds that come in here and eat everything. As you can see, all these big beautiful blueberries and everything that are growing on here. Real nice clusters of big fat blueberries that are doing really well. And so yeah, I'm pretty happy with my blueberries this year. Everything seems to be going good. And come along here to my blackberries, and this year, oh my gosh, the blackberries are doing outstanding. I have blackberries growing all over the place on my canes, and they are just doing amazing. Today's supposed to be a hot day, so I'm gonna probably come out here and turn on the water and everything and get them hydrated. See all these blackberries just growing all over this. This is the Nochez variety. And so everything's doing pretty good right now, knock on wood. You know, onions weren't so successful, but it is what it is. And so I'm pretty happy with it. I got some plants up front with a little bit of bell peppers growing on them. And hopefully soon I'll be able to get back out to the garden plot out there at my mother-in-law's and take you on an updated video of that. Some work has gotten done, but it's a huge project. Let me tell you, it's a huge project, and it's going to have to be done gradually, because it's a lot. Well, for example, we loaded a cubic yard of compost, leaf compost and mushroom compost mixed together, and we took that out, and we used almost every bit of it for just one row, one bed that's 30 inches wide and probably about maybe 40 feet long, roughly. And it just, because the soil out there is so sandy, it's practically all sand, and so it takes a lot of compost to amend that so that we can grow. So it's going to take a lot of compost to get that garden up to snuff. But anyways, that's what's going on. Go to the doctor's here soon, get the business license, and then next step will be to talk to restaurants and see what kind of business we all can do together, and start ramping up production and get going. So if you guys have any questions or comments, post them down below, and thank you for tuning in, and thank you for subscribing. Y'all have a good one. Bye.